Hi guys, how is everybody? I finally got my camera situated. But it's still showing some glitchy stuff and the weather is a little sketchy here right now. So we are going to do the false divine feminine and the divine feminine reading today. And before we begin, I just want to tell everybody because not only, I mean, I have people that follow me that I guess I have some haters too, but it doesn't really matter. But I do want to address something because I've been getting comments about my hair and people saying I have hair extensions and all this other shit. No, I don't have hair extensions. I'm a single mom who lives in an RV out in the woods, and hair extensions are the least of my worries. I don't get my nails done from anybody. I do them myself. My hair has grown long over time, and if you watch my YouTube channel, the Magical Muse uh, Tarot, well, no, it's not tarot, it's just the Magical Muse on YouTube, you'll see the transition of my hair. I mean, I've been blonde, it's been short, it grew, it took a long time to grow. But in any case, no, I don't use hair extensions. I can't really afford that, and I think that kind of maintenance really isn't my style. I'm not that high maintenance. But I appreciate the shout out. I mean, if you think my hair looks that pretty, thank you. I do use my hair oil, which is not on the market yet and hopefully will be soon. Um, that's something that has been put on the back burner as far as like my products and things like that. But we're going to be getting to that. My son Brian's going to be going to school, and I'll have more time to do the things I love. So that's good. It'll free up some time for my business and to really refocus that energy. What else did I want to say? What else did I hear about something? Oh, my boobs. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. No, I don't have fake ones. These are real, but I did get a lift after breastfeeding my son because I had my son when I was 41. So they kind of went down south. And yes, I did get a lift a long, long time ago, probably about 10, 11 years ago. Okay. Now that we have that out on the table, let's begin the reading. Sorry, I got nothing to hide. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask me anything. It really doesn't fucking matter to me. But I'm glad that we're here today. I'm glad my camera's working. I do have to keep an eye on my speaker because it uses Bluetooth and I just don't want it shutting off. But I tested it today and it should be fine. All right, so I want to start with this false divine because, and they didn't even use the word karmic this time. It's not about a karmic or the darks I mean, they're still dark karmics. However, they're using the guise of a false divine, because they're trying to mimic the divine feminine. And so they're wearing this mask and pretending that they're divine, just like my divine feminines, which they are not. But they're trying to play the role, that's for sure. Now, the difference here is with the false divine, and my theme was the Queen of Hearts. So if you saw the video, I had that song in my head for days. Playing with the Queen of Hearts. Yeah, it's an old song, but if you listen to the words, it's pretty funny. So the Queen of Hearts is taking two roles here. Now I have the Queen of Hearts, which could be the Queen of Cups in the tarot if you want to look at it that way. But the darks or the false divine feminine is the antithesis of the divine, and we're going to look at both these roles in their dual aspects. So let's start with the false divine, who, this is somebody who has a very tyrannical behavior. So when you look at the Queen of Hearts in what's the cartoon? Alice in Wonderland, right? She's, just the nastiest person. There's so many metaphors within her character that I had to research, which I found really interesting. But she's very violent, very impulsive. She's emotionally unstable, uses, victim mentality, guilt trips. They numb their feelings with bad habits, whether it's drinking, drugs, alcohol. There's a lot of codependency energy with this false divine feminine. They use emotional manipulation because they are the Queen of Hearts, or in this, possibly the Queen of Cups. They use emotional manipulation to get what they want. So it's a power trip in a sense. It's almost like they have these sadistic punishments if you don't bend to their or yield to their will. And it usually does have to do with the emotions. So if they don't feel like if they're supposedly giving you all this love and generosity, they expect the same in return. But there's like, a price attached to it. That's what we're dealing with here. This is somebody who lacks boundaries. They have no respect for other people's boundaries. They will do whatever it is to get into someone else's energy because they're kind of losing their own identity and they're feeding off of someone else's, which in this case is a divine feminine. So the false feminine, the false divine, is trying to feed off the divine, the true divine feminine, and mimic that energy and try to embody it and try to kind of like attach their cord to suck away their life force in a sense. But of course, that's not working. We've discussed that in past readings. Nothing they can do is working, and that's only pissing them off even more. So it's bringing a lot of judgment of others, but mostly judgment on themselves. So all these things are turning back onto them. The mirror is reflecting back onto them, and they're not liking what they're seeing. Why can't I be like the divine feminine? What is it that they have that I don't have? They're just very the energy is kind of grossing me out. There's a resentfulness thinking in their mind, and they, listen, I almost feel sorry for them because it's almost like they feel like they gave so much, or their ego is hurting them in such a way that it's building this resentment, and so this resentment that's building up is causing, oh god, it's almost like a fractal break in the mirror. It's like the mirror is cracking, and so the illusions are falling away. So if other people are surrounding this false divine feminine, they're going to finally see who this person really is. Oh my god, they're manipulative, they're angry, they're jealous, they pit people up against each other. They use gossip to destroy other people and to destroy other people's lives, but it's not working anymore. So what they assumed that they had, whether they thought they had power or some kind of power or dominion, I just heard, over my divine feminine or the people in their lives to portray the divine feminine as the false one, it's not working. So, and I love that. I love that for the divine feminine because this is the kind of bullshit we've been dealing with, but not as much anymore because we've been so focused on our own things, right? And we'll get to us in a minute. But so this is someone who's very jealous, very petty, full-blown narcissist, using all the narcissistic tactics to destroy my divine feminine, to take, like using even magic or, I guess it's almost like they're saying because she's mimicking the divine feminine, she's using what the divine feminine would use in their own life. But the only thing is they're twisted. They don't understand. They don't have it here. They don't have it here. They certainly don't have it here. There's something missing. It's not a good energy. It's very destructive. And so because of this destructive behavior, they're tampering with things they wouldn't, I mean, maybe they've always done this, but because of this destructive behavior, they're losing themselves in drugs and alcohol and blurring the lines of what is reality and what is, not reality. I don't know how else to put it. So they're going a little crazy. They're losing their shit is what I'm getting. It's not working. None of this is working. They're being seen for who they are. The divine feminine's always known that this person or these people, these false divines who are pretending to be divines and aren't, truly are karmics and dark entities, or they have a darkness within them that needs to be healed. Everybody deserves to be healed, but the problem is that the more they keep attacking my divine feminines, the more there will be a breakdown on a soul level, which will expose their bullshit, expose who they truly are to the world. And when that happens, especially for a narcissist, it's just the most horrible thing that could happen. It'll be like they have to find a new supply, I guess. Um, but I'm getting this false divine is trying to work magic. They're trying to learn how to do what the divine feminine does, whether my divines are gifted with healing, psychic ability, maybe they're very good at their business or their work, maybe they're free, and I'm getting that a lot too. I'm hearing they don't feel free, they feel trapped. Not the divine feminines, the karmics, the false divines. They feel trapped in their situation. They feel like there's no growth, or they feel like they're not as adored or as loved or as seen as somebody who is good to people. I don't know. They just, it's all exterior bullshit. Now, meanwhile, my divine feminines are just living their life. They're just doing what they do. This is what they do. This is their work. This is whatever the work it is that they do. But it's always geared to helping others and also benefiting in the process. So now, this false divine, they're not getting that. In fact, they're getting the opposite, and they're not understanding what they're doing wrong. But what they're doing wrong is they keep attacking and keep mimicking and keep copying and keep trying to steal and covet and just not being their authentic self is really what's happening here. But the truth that what's sad is, and this spirit just said, the thing is they don't like their authentic selves. They're starting to see who they truly are, and they're seeing how others see them. And narcissists don't like that. They want people to see the beautiful mirror. They want that mirror. And so if they don't get that, um, that's when you see the evil come, to the surface. The lacking boundaries really bothers me because I could see how this false divine is just pushing, pushing, pushing. Trying to reconnect with the divine feminine, trying to get back in her good graces, trying to, and this is what they're just saying to me, trying to prove herself that she is just as worthy, or she is just as good, or she is better. It's not a competition. Divine feminines don't compete. We don't have time for that bullshit. We're too busy doing our purpose and living in our purpose and living in our authenticity. So when we're confronted by someone who is like this, it's just the door is shut. We close it because we see it from a mile away. We're not going to entertain that lower base energy because the vibe, we could feel their energy and we know where it is, and it's not where we want to be. And they're not going to certainly anchor into us and trying to drag us down so that they can rise up from our energy. It's not going to work, but they keep trying, don't they? All right. I want to talk about now that we discussed that, and the false divine might come back in again, but let's just focus on why I chose the Queen of Hearts as this symbol, or why Spirit did, really, because that song, I mean, I couldn't get it out of my head, and you should read the lyrics. Pretty interesting. Divine feminines are in a place right now where they're embracing their curiosity. They want more adventure in their lives. They understand that having imagination is a gift and a guide on their soul journey. They're very decisive. They're good leaders. They're fierce protectors of their home, their family, their loved ones. They are ruling their kingdom with, what's the word I can say? They're ruling their kingdom with order and a clear set of boundaries in a world that is filled with riddles and chaos. In other words, they are seeing all the bullshit and they're not going to allow it in their space. So in that song, it also mentions the Joker is the only fool. So this divine feminine, who is the positive aspect of the Queen of Hearts, Queen of Cups, and it doesn't necessarily mean water signs, although, yes, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, but I feel like this is just a divine embodiment of the divine feminine, who is very intuitive, who is using her gifts to help others, who is doing the work, who has done the work, and now is reaping the rewards and benefits, and is fully protected from these karmics, these dark energies, these dark entities, and these false divines who are trying to copy and mimic them. The road has opened, is what they just said. The road is opening. So, I mean, you're getting someone who's very direct. They stand up to bullies. They're not going to put up with the bullshit anymore. They are being very pragmatic and dynamic in their life, and probably having the best glow up ever, or at least they will be having, because I'm seeing, they're showing me like a timeline, and I'm seeing a couple of major glow ups while that's going on. Which, by the way, of course, these karmics and false divines are going to be watching every step of the way. They're going to be spying and watching. But I mean, again, so passionate, authentic, working on herself, working on her business, working on her relationships that matter, not the ones that have been released and let go of. Because honestly, if you're going to come to a divine feminine and act like you're bringing something to the table, but you're only taking, and you're playing fuck games and all, she's going to see right through it. And she's going to call you on it. And so, bye-bye, because they'll just leave. And that's good. We don't want you here. If you're not going to come correct, don't bother coming at all. So, I mean, this energy that I'm getting, though, with our divine feminines is that they're really wearing their heart on their sleeves now. They're not afraid to love, but they're also not afraid to put a false divine or a false karmic or somebody that's coming with ill intentions in their place. They're going to know, okay? Because their intuition is so high. They're very psychic, very clairvoyant, clairaudient. They have all the clairs is what I'm getting. I mean, that's why I got the Queen of Hearts and the Queen of Cups. That is a very intuitive sign. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be a water sign, because I'm getting it's almost every sign. I'm getting my airs, my earths, my fires, and my waters. But that is the culmination of a divine feminine. She is all of the cards as one. She's the Empress. The high priestess. She is the Nine of Pentacles. This is somebody who has worked very hard to build up their business, their life, their finances, their foundation. And it took a long time to get there, and they worked very hard to get there. So now it's their turn to reap the benefits. And, of course, the darks and the false feminines are pissed about it. They're like, oh my God, I've done everything to try and stop this person. I've done everything to try and stop the divine, and nothing I'm doing is working. And they're so frustrated. And now it's all bouncing back onto them. And so, yeah, you reap what you sow, bitch. What can I tell you? So, there's this whole thing about standing up to bullies, mastering one's own fear, and seeing through the illusions. Because there have been a lot of illusions, and there still are more to come. Spirit just told me, they're like, that's why all of these characters, when you think about the Queen of Hearts and Alice in Wonderland, it was like this progression where Alice had to learn how to overcome her fears, combat the bullies, realize the cards. Remember the cards on it? It's an old cartoon. But they were just cards. You're only a deck of cards. And they just blew away. She just went like this, and they all fell down. So once she broke through all those illusions and she saw the truth, and this is all a metaphor, you guys, because what's really happening here is that I'm sorry, I'm having trouble talking because they're downloading as I'm. What's really happening here is my divine feminines are seeing people for who they really are and recognizing the patterns that they're trying to bring back into their life. And they're like, no, I learned these lessons already. I don't need to do this again. If you want to relive it and you want to do it, you go back over there and relive that karmic cycle, because it's the whole year of 2027 is going to be getting back every single thing that you put out energetically, and you're getting it back threefold. There's something about standing up to injustice. There's something about embracing one's true self, one's true path. Learning the power of perception, learning from past mistakes and not repeating the cycles, facing those fears and understanding the shadow self. The journey is about the destination, but it's also about achieving personal transformation. And that's what the divine feminines need to do, or what they're doing, or what they have been doing. So, let me get a pen. So, I mean, there's going to be, and yes, I know all the planetary stuff that's going on right now. I don't want to reiterate it here. We have Mercury retrograde, things like that. New moon's coming. Thank God. That's going to be in Cancer. And then it enters, is it Aries? No, Leo. It enters Leo. So this is where this glow up, which, by the way, I said are coming in intervals throughout the year 2027, or going into 26 into 2027. This is where these intervals are beginning. You're going to start noticing that doors are opening. You're going to start noticing that what was once blocked is now being removed. What was once being withheld is now being given, and very easily. There's no fighting anymore. There's no fighting for justice, fighting for your right to be yourself, fighting for your loved ones, or any kind of situation that you're going through where you have to prove yourself. There's none of that. That's all done. You've done all that. Now it's like, whereas the false divines are reaping what they're sowing for all the bullshit they caused, my true divines are finally reaping in the benefits of what um, was finally owed to them, is what I got. Okay, so there are going to be a lot of PS people trying to come back to be in your good graces. And again, you have to use your intuition and your discernment. You're going to know exactly who is allowed back in your space and who isn't. Now, I kind of feel like most of you are just going to be like, I don't know, man. You know, if they did it once, they're probably going to do it again. So you might not be open to having to hear what they have to say. But I also feel like there's going to be some where you'll be like, you know what? Okay, sure, let's give it another shot, but actions are louder than words, and you'll need to show me that, you know. And that's, you have every right to do that. And if they complain about it, then be like, okay, well, bye, because you don't care. You're not in a place to care anymore. You have no reason to play the game again. You're not going to play any more games with people. You're so focused on what's important in your life and what's important to you. And it's not a selfish energy. It's about time that you do this. It's about time that you're a little selfish and you're focused on what your needs are and how you're going to grow from here. But I do get a lot of spies. I still get a lot of spies from my divines. And, you know, of course, it's not to say that the darks aren't going to keep trying, or the false feminines or the false divines aren't going to keep trying. They want to know what you're up to. They want to know what you're doing. They want to understand you. And then I'm also getting an energy that wants to learn and understand you because they want to be in your world. They feel like you can give them energy to help fix their life or fix their problems. Oh my God. Are they fucking kidding me? Like, I just heard that. They're like, yeah, they're trying to get back in your good graces because they want your energy. They feel like you can heal them. And then what's going to happen, right, guys? Because we've all been through this before. All my divines have been through this before. We heal them, and we love them, and we marinate them in all the happiness and the glow that we vibrate. And then what do? They rise, and then they leave. And then when they leave, they start to deplete again because they can't maintain it without you. So that's scary, you know. And you shouldn't be wanting someone like that anyway in your energy. Like, almost every pen's not working. Here we go. Let's try this one. You shouldn't want anybody in your energy like that anyway. It's not your job to heal anybody. I mean, we do healing in our work that we do. And if they want to be healed in that way, then they can, you know, do it that way. But it's not where you're going to be in a relationship with somebody or a friendship with somebody and have them suck the life out of you like a goddamn vampire, and then have the nerve to act like they did it on their own or something, and not, you know, it totally deplete you and then leave. So your guard is way up. Now, when I read you guys last time, you were in the Queen of Swords energy, but now you're in the Queen of Cups energy. And it's very interesting because it's like, you're not going to allow anybody to mess with you because you're seeing right through it. And it's like, off with their heads, not literally, but I'm hearing off with their heads, meaning like, I'm just going to cut you out of my life. I don't need this bullshit. If you're not going to be at my level or better, if you're not going to bring something to the table and do this with me in a partnership, and this doesn't just have to do with love relationships. This has to do with all relationships. If the energy exchange is not even, you are not going to bother with it anymore. And we know when it's not even. So I'm getting that really strongly for you guys. But the thing is, what I'm loving about this energy too is that you're opening yourselves up to love. So if I am dealing with a divine feminine that is single, the self-love is cultivating right now, and it's building. And so it's creating this glow up, and that's a beautiful energy. And a lot of people are going to want a piece of that action. So you have to watch out, obviously, right? You're going to get a couple. I'm getting 3. It's so messed up. I'm seeing like 3. So if you're single, there are 3 energies that are coming towards you. There's one where I'm getting is a past karmic that wants to repeat a cycle. There's one that's coming in like the Fool, because remember I said The player is the only fool. So you got to listen to these songs. And when after you watch this reading, watch the Divine Masculine read, because that one's just as they're kind of tied together. I wish I could do them all together. Oh no. Hold on one second, you guys. Bluetooth connected.